Hello again. Are you sitting comfortably? I hope not, because I'm not sitting too comfortably with the fact that two blatantly unelected clowns are now the two most powerful people in the whole of the European Union. We have Herman Van Rompuy as chief henchman and Cathy Ashton as second in command. On the 19th of November, under the new Lisbon Treaty, which again the people of Europe tried in vain to vote against, Herman Van Rompuy was designated the first permanent president, a bit worrying, of the European Council, as a position he will take up on the 1st of January 2010. Has anyone else noticed how they keep referring to it as the European Council rather than saying he's president of the European Union? I personally think that this is done intentionally to kind of basically use political doublespeak to sort of subliminally create a divide and separate his presidency from the people of Europe, because you and I as individual citizens are technically members of the European Union, but we are not technically members of the European Council, obviously. So effectively the clever spin doctors at Brussels HQ are saying, you people of Europe don't get any say in this. Our federalist agenda is none of your business. You don't get to choose who is president because he's our president. He's the president of our political elite. Not the president of the people, but you will have to do exactly as he says, and you will comply with his every order and his governance. That's just my take on it, anyway. So, Van Rompuy worked at the Belgian Central Bank from 1972 to 1975, before going into politics. He's a member of the Christian Democrat Party, although clearly not too concerned with actual democracy. In 2008, he was elected as Prime Minister of Belgium. By the way, for anyone who doesn't already know, Belgium is a tiny little country nestled between Germany and France. And Brussels used to be known for its chocolate factories, but now it's known as the place where a bunch of overpaid, unelected bureaucrats meet to push through their totalitarian EU agenda each month. Incidentally, I don't know if you are aware of something called the Citizens' Initiative. It's one of the many changes that's been brought through since the whole Lisbon Treaty was ratified, undemocratically of course, and so that will enter into force in a few weeks' time. The initiative is apparently meant to make the European Union more democratic by giving citizens more direct say on EU policies. What a farce. EU democracy, but late for that. So, a few facts about Mr. Van Rompuy. He's 62 years old, Roman Catholic, and nicknamed the Clown by his sister, apparently. I can't help but feel that if he was a clown, he would be the sinister sort that you wouldn't want to invite to your children's birthday party. Apparently he was furious when the Daily Express pointed out his nickname of the Clown. He was horrified and really, really angry when he looked at the newspaper, said one source. Mr. Van Rompuy reportedly said, "How can they depict me in this way? This is a disgrace." Well, Mr. Van Rompuy, not quite so much as a disgrace as usurping the sovereignty of 27 EU countries and their 400 million collective citizens. By the way, Mr. Van Rompuy has in the past frequently advocated turning Europe into a superstate. He also wants to ban national flags, national anthems, things like that, and is in favour of punitive tax-raising powers for the EU. Thinking about his dislike of national sort of emblems and flags and things like that, it'd be quite tempting, wouldn't it, to go and paint a 20-foot tall Union Jack on the side of his house, just as a little kind of, early Christmas present, but probably won't get around to that this year. So, anyway, we can dream. In accepting his appointment as the first president of the European Union, Belgian Prime Minister Herman Van Rompuy announced that a global governance is the only way to address the crises that beset the planet. He made the following statement: "We're living through exceptionally difficult times. The financial crisis and its dramatic impact on employment and budgets the climate crisis which threatens our very survival. A period of anxiety, uncertainty, a lack of confidence, he said in his maiden press conference. Yet these problems can be overcome through a joint effort between our countries. 2009 is also the first year of global governance. First, that's news to me, but anyway. With the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis. The climate conference in Copenhagen is another step towards the global management of our planet. Oh, lovely. So now one guy is allowed to decide, that he's going to rule the world, quite literally. Oh, lovely. I can't wait. I can't wait till Mr. Van Rompuy is our global president. The first president of the globe, also known as a clown. How very fitting, and how tragic for the fact that that is the pinnacle of human achievement. Well, it's absolutely no coincidence that the EU's first president has been enthroned just in time for the Copenhagen Treaty farce. Mr. Van Rompuy is desperate to push through measures for all sorts of green taxes. It's also no surprise that he is a frequent attendee of the Bilderberg conferences. After all, the Bilderbergers do like to keep it in the family. Here's a quote from The Guardian. Van Rompuy laid out his plans for a plethora of euro taxes during a private speech at a recent meeting of the Bilderberg group of top politicians, bankers, businessmen. The group officially meets in secret, but when selected, details of his remarks leaked out. His office was forced to issue a public statement on his behalf, which read as follows. The financing of the welfare state, irrespective of social reform we implement, will require new resources, he said. The possibility of financial levies at European level needs to be seriously reviewed. Well, I don't know about you, but the phrase implementing social reform does send a chill down my spine. Do I get a whiff of common purpose, Fabian socialism? No, maybe that's just me. Here's a thought. Was Van Rompuy hired to act as a unifier for the EU to try and bridge the schism between the anxious sovereign nations? Bloomberg states that Van Rompuy brought political stability to Belgium after taking over in December 2008, ending a year when the country went through 3 prime ministers and a speculation was rife that it might split apart. Could this have been a trial run for attempting to unify consensus in the European Union, and then perhaps globally? According to the Guardian newspaper, he is said to have been ostensibly chosen for his new job because of his skill as a consensus builder, which I find very interesting. He is also known as a skilled and ruthless political operator, so he'll get on well with Peter Mandelson, I guess, who is happy to play rough as well as smooth. Last year he ordered the locks to be changed on a chamber in the Belgian Parliament in order to prevent deputies holding politically disruptive debate. Well, if he goes to those sorts of lengths to shut up debate amongst his colleagues, it doesn't bear thinking about how far he would go to shut up naughty citizens like myself who don't agree with his fascist tendencies. So, in conclusion, Herman Van Rompuy is an illegitimate president elected by illegitimate officials to fulfill a role created within an illegitimate treaty for an illegitimate, undemocratic, corrupt, and federal EU superstate. He has no authority over me, and I will not ever comply with his governance. Don't have nightmares. Oi!
Why make trillions when we could make billions?